Hey, this is Mark Henninger from Sound and Vision, and I am with Charles Minett, the design director for Monitor Audio. We are here with the U.S. premiere of the Hyphen, right?
That's right, yeah. So the Hyphen loudspeaker, which has been developed as part of our 50th birthday celebrations, we brought it here to North Carolina for its North America debut.
Right on. And I was just listening to some of the demos, and there's stunning clarity, all the things that you want from a really high-end speaker. But what are these doing above and beyond what you would expect from a top,
I mean, it's a competitive market. There's a lot of people developing flagship loudspeaker products at the moment. But what we really wanted to do, we wanted to dial it back. Michael and I were challenged by our owner. Monitor Audio is still a privately owned company, and he challenged us to create something to really celebrate our 50th birthday. And instead of sort of looking back and trying to recreate some of our heritage, we wanted to look at trying to approach loudspeaker design with a totally blank sheet of paper. So it originally started with Michael and I sitting down, and we decided, what if we try and build a loudspeaker around a drive unit configuration? And we toed and froed, and Michael told me how he wanted to. He wanted to play with point source and get a really nice point source loudspeaker, and he was also talking about force cancel bass drivers. And the more and more we talked, we realized, because the force cancel bass drivers can work in both ways, we looked at this and said, hang about, we can really make everything work a lot better here by bringing all of the driven units of this loudspeaker, of which there are 11 drive units in each loudspeaker of the pair. They're all in a very, very condensed area. Mm-hmm. It gives us great point source, but also allows us to develop a system. All the drivers are developed in unison. We call it system design. They're designed at the same time with knowing the cabinet parameters, knowing what we're going to do with the crossover, so we can create a speaker that is really, really unique and performs at all levels. I think what we're finding, we're getting a lot of feedback, is that the sound stage of these speakers is something really, really special. The dispersion, the phantom center, that there is no, they're very easy to position. And they're really, really easy to listen to. What Michael's been very, very insistent in trying to create a speaker that's non-fatiguing. We want speakers to be enjoyable. It's all right making the perfect loudspeaker, but if it tires you out after listening to your favorite songs for a full afternoon or something, that's not a great product.
Well, what tires you out?
Well, sometimes I think when you're listening to music at high SPL, for instance, it can be fatiguing. What we're finding with these, that even at high volume, I mean, we're here in North Carolina, we're in a really big room here today, we've been playing this loud, and it's really, really non-fatiguing. It plays easily at high volume for a long period of time. And
that's by avoiding dynamic compression and distortion?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keeping things ultra-low distortion is really key to, I always like some of the terms that Michael always used, and one from the early days was as working together was, the key to making a good loudspeaker is understanding how we listen, understanding that. Once you start understanding that better, you can design a better loudspeaker.
And that would be like a sensitivity to mid-range distortion, which is probably where you're having like some of the most innovative, feature of the speaker.
Exactly. I mean, While the aesthetic of the Hyphen is very much about the twin cabinet design with force cancel drivers, the real innovation is actually what's going on underneath this grille here, and that's where we have the M array, and the M array is this configuration of our third generation of MPD transducer, which is a micro-pleated diaphragm. It's an all-new design for Hyphen. As I say, the third generation. We've had it previously in Synergy and the last Platinum range. Right. We've really evolved that and stepped that forward on this product. But that has been designed in unison with these mid-range drivers. So there are 6 2-inch mid-range drivers that surround that little MPD tweeter, and they're designed to work in conjunction with that, as I say, designed as a system. That whole assembly is below 5 inches. It's the size of a 5-inch driver. My team in the mechanical engineering side had to work really closely with the acoustic team. It's one of the real great benefits of Monitor Audio is that we have all of our development teams under one roof. There's a lot of collaboration, so we managed to get a team that could work together and figure out the It's like a jigsaw inside there, getting all those parts to fit together.
And this was not the result of work from home, huh?
No. I mean, we did start this project in the pandemic. It was hard work. I keep joking. While everyone else was making banana bread, we were doing this. So the team have really pulled together. It's not just Michael and I. We've got a real great team of engineers. There's 30 R&D engineers, over 30 now in Raleigh, back in the UK, and we came up with the concept, but the team really delivered getting this across the line, both on the acoustics side and the mechanical and design side.
So to do the mechanical design side, I mentioned you've likened to the internals of a watch. So what specialization does that take? A machinist?
Everything. There were so many different elements of this. I mean, right at the beginning, we just started a new mechanical engineering team within the organization that specialized in FEA, so finite element analysis. So we were doing a lot of computer simulations very early on about what we could do mechanically. This is a very unique cabinet design. This whole structure is actually only held together with 4 bolts.
Okay.
The drivers act as the chassis for the whole assembly. They are bolted together as 2 sub-assemblies. Then those 2 sub-assemblies are held either side by a bolt. So you have the 4 bolts that pull the whole assembly together. This bridge here, this is non-structural. It's totally isolated from the rest of the cabinet. So that allows us to keep any unwanted vibrations away from that.
Sure.
So the work we had to do mechanically to understand if that was even possible was very complex. We had to understand what the materials were, run the analysis, and make sure it did what we wanted it to do. There's a lot even in going down to what we do with the drivers. A lot of simulation there. The 6 mid-range drivers. One of the best things one of the real sort of benefits of that is you've also got 6 voice coils then for your mid-range. So your power handling, it's a lot easier to deal with that. Yeah.
So the crossover to the bass with the module located where it is in front of the force canceling drivers, I'm curious how, is it that the frequencies from the bass are omnidirectional and they're not impacted by it?
They are omnidirectional. You have to be very careful though. There still is a lot of energy and coming from behind those drivers.
Right.
That's why we have a very unique baffle design. That's one of the reasons that this whole baffle is stepped forward a little bit.
Okay.
And it's also elongated. As you'll notice it. So this shape, again, it's not because it's there to look pretty, it's there because it actually mechanically makes the speaker work better.
Sure, all modeled and really optimized.
Yeah, exactly.
And something else I heard you mention during the demo was just that the tweeter does not interact with those, with the ring of mid-ranges at all.
We developed this as, again, in the unison between the 2 teams. Those mid-range drivers are flat cones. And the gap between the cone and the baffle is extremely minimal. The tweeter is set back ever so slightly in a waveform, and the waveguide works very well with. We did a lot of optimization, so that tweeter doesn't see those mid-range drivers. You don't get that problem with a moving piston really close to the MPD tweeter there. So you get that real benefit of point source, but without some of the negatives.
Okay, and in this system you're driving them with a couple of Mark Levinsons. How much power are you feeding them and what could they take?
I think on the top power handling, you need to look at the tech specs on the website. It's been a long day,
right on.
But they'll take any. We power tested them really high. I mean, these monoblocks are 850 each. We're running them bi-wired.
Okay.
They're the Mark Levinson 50th anniversaries. They're been very gracious to us and loaned those for the weekend. They're plenty enough power for the product. I mean, as you heard, they weren't pushing it too hard at all. The Hyphens can really take it.
Sure, because that's one thing about fundamentally a subwoofer is that, yeah, we know that a competent subwoofer can suck in 1,000 watts if you've got the drivers and the
Exactly,
and the
it's about power handling. You don't, there's a lot of heat when you start getting up to those sort of power levels, and you've got to design a drive unit and a system that can take that and take that for a prolonged period of time as well. I mean, we all know, subwoofers are what they measure and what they say are always a little bit, different.
Right.
Yeah.
Another comment you made was just about how they're big, but they're actually really small for what they do, and so that, at least to me, that usually speaks to a more robust driver with more power.
Very much so. The drive, we've been doing a lot of work in R&D with about high SPL and high power handling. Also at this show we have our Synergy home cinema theatre on display, which is our reference home theatre system, and that product was developed all about high power handling. That's all THX Ultra certified. A lot of that knowledge of developing really high power drivers has filtered its way into this product for sure.
I got you.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, very cool.
That's great. Well, thank you for coming down. It's been a real pleasure talking.